You find out a lot of things like they're dispatchers or they're basic. These are all football people basically, or stock people or something like that. They're like talking to the football players or the stock thingies, or they're not even plugged in. Like one time they were like, and this is me congratulating what's it called and whatever, and you find out that these are like, I don't know, they're actually doing something completely different that has nothing to do with space or anything. Like look, they're looking at some sort of security guard footage or something like that. They have nothing to do with the space agency and nothing to do with anything, and basically, um, nothing to do with anything. JFK was basically just a drug dealer, a really bad drug dealer. Like you find out JFK was the actual history of JFK and who JFK really was is he was a really bad drug dealer, a psychotic drug dealer. And basically, he sold methamphetamine, cocaine, whatever. They would adjust games, and they would basically you could bet on games or bet on horse tracks, and they would actually shoot the horse. Okay, you're not going to win, and it's legal, and all that other stuff. And mostly this was in some other country that was not United States or nor America. And basically, they were pretty much, they had their little combat armor. Like I said, they just made sure that everyone around them had lead bullets only, so they could suit up in their USAF suits and basically go around like they're immortal. Oh, fuck you, boom, boom, boom. Because they had armor-piercing bullets and even real bullets. Anyway, yeah, so it's all bullshit. It's a young kid, a young somebody or other. They're all fucking liars. And anyway, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but they have nothing to do with the space program. Nothing at all. Not even a little bit. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck they're doing on the TV, saying that they had something to do with it. Anyway, this is like sports history or something. A walk in space. CPP! That's, what's it called? That's basically Africa, black males. And pretty much a whole bunch of corruption, a lot of death and stuff that happened in Africa. After the Africa people went in there and killed the French, whatever. Walk in space, whatever, should take it. Anyway, yeah, just a whole bunch of fake news, fake stories, and they basically printed up a bunch of newspapers and just tossed them on a table. They got a big globe, that was a globe, and put a wire mesh around it. And it's basically everything you see is fake. Your past 50 years of your history is all fake. Those were cardboard or something like that. They made some mock-up things of what a space capsule were. They embezzled a bunch of money, sold a bunch of money, and they were attempting to make a spacecraft, but it was like aluminum or cardboard or something like that. And it was for the kids. They said it's for the kids to play with or whatever, and they were going to do the space show. They embezzled a bunch of money and spent like $100,000 or $1 million on this space show. They were really high when they did that, and yeah, and kind of showed how you would pour coffee in space, the possibility of pouring coffee in space. Oh, it was bad. It was really, really bad. I mean, like I say, and yeah, and how two ships could rendezvous or something, and one was actually supposed to fit into the other one or something like that. And what it is, it's actually a bell or something that they made. That press the buttons really quick. they orchestrate all this stuff, and oh wow, it's just a whole bunch of like it was kind of funny. A lot of people laughed at it because it's actually like a comedy of stuff, because if you were actually around, you would know that it's all basically a big joke. I mean, it's like just a bunch of lights and buttons and stuff, and half the buttons don't really even do anything. Like the control system center is still around. You can go there. It's in like France, or it's where NASA is. Yeah, I mean where NASA the boxer is in the boxing fame NASA. If you go to I think it's in Italy or France or someplace like that. If you go to the NASA boxing center, there's a NASA boxing center. And you know that big buff guy that supposedly was in, I forget, someplace. He had a beard or whatever. He's in one of the shots. He's a NASA boxing guy, and they used to do football and all kinds of stuff. And oh yeah, put up an equation and make yourself look smart. And basically, he was a NASA boxing center, and they used his boxing center to do all this stuff, and pretty much to give legitimacy to JFK. And make it look like he was somebody other than basically a drug dealer and basically a drug kingpin and pretty much just the worst person that ever crossed the earth, which he was. Anyway, yeah. If you do the research, you can find out all this stuff. They had nothing to do with the space capsules. They had nothing to do with the space program. They had nothing to do with NASA. These guys are all boxers. And actually guilty for murder, usually, and drug possession and a lot of other stuff. And also guilty of rigging games and also even shooting whole football teams. If you look, a lot of these people are guilty of shooting football teams and even killing their own team members and other stuff. And basically they just got on a bunch of helmets and masks and basically pretended like they were part of the space program. But they weren't. They were actually like football. Boxing. Yeah, that's like the whatever football broadcasting system. There's a football broadcasting system that broadcasts all their games from. Eventually somebody went in there and shot all the players and shot everyone. So, anyway, these people released all this stuff and basically, eventually, they had this broadcast thing from India or someplace like that, and they're broadcasting their rigged football games. Eventually, someone who had lost a lot of money pretty much got pissed off and went over there and went because they had cleaned out like 5 or 6 people, and it turned out that they were rigging the games, and the games were just completely fake. They'd have these football players, and people would take bets on the football games, and then they would lose because they would post the statistics as this and this and this and this, and anybody with a brain would say, well, this team's got to win. Or these teams got to win. And what they would do is they would make it so those teams would throw the game and this team would win down here. And they would clean out the house. And eventually people found out about this and basically went there, found out where the broadcasting center was, found out where they were playing these games from, found out where they were broadcasting from, went in there and went and basically just killed everybody there. They killed the football players. They killed the coaches. They killed the people working in the broadcast center. They killed everyone. Anyways, a bunch of people who had lost all their money basically went over there and pretty much found out where these people were broadcasting from. See, they would record the games beforehand, and people would think that the games were live, and they'd play in the games, and they would take their bets and everything else like that, thinking that there was some possibility, but they're actually all recorded and being played through the dish. So people would be so the audience wouldn't know how the game was going to turn out, but of course these other people knew how the game was going to turn out. So all their money was on the winners. So then people would lose all their money, and these other people would win, and then they found out about this. So they killed the players, they killed the broadcasters, they killed everyone at the center. Basically, it's like this broadcasting center out in the Middle East or someplace like that, and they were broadcasting from that dish to the satellite, and they tracked it back to the satellite dish, then tracked it back to the center, and killed everyone, and killed the football players too. Anyway, so a whole bunch of dead people. Anyway, I don't know how many of these people are actually still alive. I guess a few. But some of these people are lucky to be alive because the people these people have stolen money and basically whatever. I don't really know exactly the exact details of it. I know some about it, but basically they're broadcasting rigged games or games that they knew the outcomes of, and basically just cleaning up all the money. So half the world found out who was stealing their money and how they were doing it, that the games were actually recorded, and then they went and killed them.